At the moment, there are only two ways of reaching it. By sea, sailing around the African continent. The journey takes a year. Or by land. But the Turks have closed this route to all Christians. There is a third way. By sailing west across the ocean sea.
The distance is unknown. It's said to be infinite.
Superstition. I believe the Indies are no more than 750 leagues west of the Canary Islands.
How can you be so certain?
The calculations of Toscanelli, Marin de Tir, Esdras.
Esdras is a Jew.
So what's worse?
2 minutes, and already you're a dead man.
For telling the truth?
Yes. We are burning people for less.
All praises to Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who rule well. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect of Israel. Why did Columbus come to America? Why did Columbus come to America? Or you could say the Americas, okay? All right. Why did Columbus do that? And first of all, Columbus didn't come to North America. Columbus came to the West Indian Islands, or you could say the Caribbean islands. He came to the island of Hispaniola. Today is known as the Dominican Republic in Haiti. Well, it was called Hispaniola by the Spaniards, okay? But before that, prior to that, it was known as the island of Cascaya, all right, which means mother of all lands, or also you could say Haiti, which is where you get Haiti. It was called Haiti, which means land of high mountains. Okay, so those are some of the names that land was called. It wasn't known by Hispaniola or the Dominican Republic. All right, but why did Columbus come there? He came there because he knew that the Israelites were there, and he came to this side of the world to conquer them. You know, it's that simple. Okay. And it was called the New World because this side of the world, it wasn't conquered by the so-called white man. When he came back in power during the Renaissance, he wanted to conquer this side of the world. That's why he called it the New World. All right. They already conquered the old world. All right. You know, which is in the East. You know, so they wanted to conquer the Western Hemisphere. But people were already here. All right. People were already here in the Americas, all right, fully populated. And they said in the island of Cascaya, which you can also call it Haiti, you could fit the world's population on that island alone. That's how many people were living there, okay? So Columbus didn't discover anything, man. People were already here, okay? Columbus is a murderer, and you people want to praise and celebrate this man. But, you know, hey, the Lord going to destroy America, all right? North America, for all the wickedness that the so-called white man has done. But without further ado, I'm going to get into this lesson. And I hope this is edifying, okay? I'm in the book here, The Origins of American Racism, Lost Tribes and Promised Lands by Ronald Sanders. And this book is high as hell, man, okay? I got it off of Amazon.com. You know, here's a picture of it. Okay, so it's the same book. All right, I just have an older front, an older cover, okay? But it's high as hell, man. You see the prices for a hardcover copy is $649.94. For a paperback, it's $240. So why is this book so damn high? Okay? Because of the truth that's in it. All right, now I'm going to go to page 77. I'm just going to get to the point, man. So why did Columbus come to the Americas, all right? Really, the island of Cascaya or Haiti that later on became known as the Dominican Republic. Okay, why did he come to this side of the world? It's on page 77, last paragraph, all right? A striking element in Columbus's geographical religiosity is his intense and abiding interest in the fourth or second book of Esdras. So what is that talking about? Columbus read the book of Esdras, which is where? In the Apocrypha, which is a part of the Bible, and it was taken out of the Bible. All right. He read that book, and in that book, it tells you how the lost tribes, the 10 tribes, came over to the Americas. So he read that book, okay? And it says the 2 apocryphal books of Esdras purport to be additional writings by and about the Old Testament Ezra. Right. Okay. You know, but because you have Ezra in the Bible, you have Nehemiah, and then you have 1st and 2nd Esdras, which are in the Apocrypha. So that's why they called the 2nd book of Esdras, which is in the Apocrypha, the 4th book. Okay. You know, according to the Latin Vulgate, you know, but it speaks about Columbus reading the book of Esdras. OK, now I'm going to go on page 79. It says, but meanwhile, the apocryphal Esdras, which was, by the way, a book of special importance to many new Christians, has a good deal to say about the original lost tribes, which is why Columbus came to the Americas. And this could not have passed lightly under Columbus's somewhat mystical gaze. Surely he saw special meanings for his own times and for himself in this passage in 2nd Esdras 13 and 2 to 5. All right. And now when you read this, it speaks about a man arising from the sea and people making war against him. That's talking about Yahawah, our Lord and Savior, whom the world calls Jesus Christ. When he comes back in this time that we're living in right now, the different armies of the earth are gonna fight him, and they're gonna lose terribly. OK, they're gonna lose. But Columbus thought that man from the sea was talking about himself. OK, and it was talking about him conquering people. That's what he thought. So he didn't understand the scriptures. But the point is that he read the book of 2nd Esdras. All right. And it says, but this warlike multitude is subdued by the man from the sea. And then another multitude, a peaceable one, comes to him, whereof some were glad, some were sorry, some of them were bound, and others some brought of them that were offered. That is, brought him slaves from their midst. You know, so, you know, this was all misinterpreted. But see, Columbus thought that was him conquering the native Indians of the islands. OK, in the Americas. He thought that was him conquering them and him putting them in slavery. All right. And it says, how could the exaltedly visionary Columbus not have seen an image of himself in this, certainly after his voyages of American discovery, which he didn't discover anything. OK, but that's the point. All right. And I'm going to jump down here. It says, if Columbus did indeed glimpse himself in the role of the man from the sea, then Esdras' identification of the peaceable multitude takes on special significance. All right. This is 2nd Esdras 13 and 40 to 42. It speaks about the 10 tribes. All right. They went into captivity under Shalmaneser, king of Assyria. OK, so they were taken to the land of Assyria, but then they came to the Americas. They came to a place called Arsareth, which represented the Americas. OK, because Arsareth means another land. Now, when you jump down here, it says Esdras' interpretation of the peaceable multitude then goes on to say that the lost tribes entered into Euphrates by the narrow passages of the river, which they were able to ford because God stopped the flow of water for them, and then traveled another year and a half to a region called Arsareth, which is America or the Americas. OK, in Arsareth, it means another land or another country. It's from the Hebrew Aratazah Acharat. All right. Aratazah is a land. Acharat is another. So another land. OK, so the point is that Columbus read the book of Esdras. OK, 2nd Esdras, which is in the Apocrypha. All right, which is a part of the Bible. OK, this is a 1611 Bible here. All right. 1611 edition, King James Version. And the Apocrypha is in it. It's right after the book of Malachi, because the Apocrypha was a part of the Old Testament. But the point is that the so-called white man is the devil, because he took the Apocrypha out of the Bible. But the point is that he knows it's accurate, okay? He knows it's accurate. And this is 2nd Ezra 13 and 39 on down. So it says the same thing. All right, that was in this book, you know. They just took it out of this book and they wrote it in there. But it's the same thing. It tells you about how the 10 tribes went into the Assyrian captivity, then came to the Americas. So Columbus knew what he was doing. All right. That's why he came to the Americas. All right. Now, I'm going to get another book here. And this is also an expensive book. It's around $100 and some, but it wasn't that high when I first bought it. OK, Esau's marking these prices up because of the truth that's in these books, man. But it's called Origins of the American Indians, European Concepts, 1492 to 1729 by Lee Eldridge Huddleston. OK, and I'm just going to skip around here because it's a lot of meat in this book. But really, I'm just going to get to the point. OK, because you can't get it all, man. I mean, really, the point is that Columbus came to the Americas because he read the book of 2nd Ezra. All right. This is on page 35, and it says Lumnius introduced most of the theological arguments which were later advanced to indicate a Hebrew origin of the Indians. The basis of his story of how the Jews got to America was the 4th book of Esdras, whose authority Lumnius accepted despite its apocryphal standing. So a lot of these different settlers and different people that came to the Americas, they read 2nd Esdras. You know, they call it 4th Esdras because you count Ezra in the Bible, then the book of Nehemiah, that would be 2nd Esdras. You have 1st Esdras in the Apocrypha, then you have 2nd Esdras. So that 2nd Esdras in the Apocrypha will be the 4th book of Esdras, which tells you about the 10 tribes coming over here. So they read it, man. All of them read it, man. All these different settlers, man, because you have to know this book. If you're a settler, or if you were a navigator coming to the Americas, you knew this off the bat. You know, they taught this book in Europe, man. They taught the Apocrypha in Europe. All right. And it's being taught today. Even most Catholics in the Catholic Bible, they have the Apocrypha in it. OK, this is on page 36. And I'm going to go down here. Juan Suarez de Peralta was the earliest identifiable Spaniard to endorse the lost tribes of Israel theory, and even his acceptance was qualified. He based his opinion in the authority of chapter 13 of the 4th book of Esdras. So it's the same thing. Chapter 13. Do we need to go to it again? All right. Verse 40. So they read it, man. All of them read it. OK, you go up here. It's the same thing. Suarez de Peralta interpreted this to mean that the 10 tribes taken captive by Shalmaneser had escaped to a land called Arsareth. So there you have it. There you have it, man. Now, let's see. We're going to go to page 131, because really it's all going to say the same thing, man. You know, this is just to further prove the point. All right. It says, all right, this is the 3rd paragraph on 131. According to Manasseh's version of the lost tribes theory, the Israelites got to the New World first, but late coming Gentiles drove them into the mountains. Yeah, and that's what happened. The lost tribes, which were the people that you called Native American Indians, they came to the Americas first. Then the so-called white man came. Then the Spanish, the Portuguese, the French, and the English came. All right. They were latecomers, man. Columbus didn't discover shit. All right. People were already over here, man. The Israelites were over here living peaceably. And then the so-called white man came and murdered them, man, and enslaved them. All right. And then they speak about the book of Esdras. Let me read down. It says the Jewish characteristics evident among the later arrivals resulted from their contact with the Jews. Next, he proceeded with the Ezra story and the supporting similarities between the Indians and the Jews, because the Indians are the Israelites, all right? The people you call Indians, okay? I mean, that's just the point, man. I mean, really, the so-called white man just a fucking devil, man, all right? And this is all going to say the same thing. And now they're saying this on 85. Even if one granted the truth of the Ezra story, it did not prove the identity of Ar-Sareth in America. Now they lying, man. You know? But then let's jump down. It says, yet, I'm going to read the highlighted part. Yet the anonymous author of Isagoge of 1711 accepted the story of Esdras to the extent of calling America Ar-Sareth through his manuscript. So that's it, man. You know, I don't need to get no more. All right. That's why he came to the Americas. All right. Because the Israelites were over here, you know, and he came to conquer them. All right. So with that, hope this is edifying. Till the next lesson, I say, Shalom.